This is a hell of a betrayal of the American people when you will not tell them the truth because you're afraid that if you tell the truth, your bosses will take your job from you. That's a hell of a thing. You don't have a democracy when you don't have a free press. You're all slaves and you love it. So you deserve what you get. The erosion of your democracy. You'll soon be the laughing stock of the world.
Well, today, our dear brother, has to be very, very careful in this decision.
Watch for those close around for signs of betrayal. Because it is written in the scriptures of the Bible that in the last days perilous times will come. And betrayal will be one of the marks of the end of the world, because people will feel that they'll be safer betraying a good cause, a just cause, to save their lives.
The West is trying to repeat history. They want to do what they're used to doing, but guess what? Times have changed and we're not going to allow the same thing to happen. What I want us to talk about today is about the similarities between Gaddafi and what is happening to Ibrahim Traoré right now as we speak. If you remember, Gaddafi was taken out by the West, and here is a US politician admitting to it.
Libya. We were the ones that caused Gaddafi's death because Hillary Clinton played a game over there, and I was the one that went over there during the war. Gaddafi asked me to come over. I took a Biden staffer and a Bush staffer and a film crew leader from ABC One in New York, Larry Menti, with me, and a cameraman, because I didn't want the CIA to set me up. I hand carried the letter back from Gaddafi offering to resign. The U.S. didn't want him to resign. They wanted to kill him.
Why?
Because Gaddafi, and I met him 3 times. I took Biden on my second trip to Libya, by the way. He went with me when I spoke to the whole country. And every meeting I had with Gaddafi, he wanted 2 things. He wanted to unite the African continent into a group of nations economically, like like the European economy. He wanted to base it on the gold standard. And the U.S. and Europe didn't want that. And the other thing is they wanted control of his oil, and they wanted control of his sovereign wealth. So Gaddafi had to go.
As you heard Kurt Weldon admitting that Gaddafi was taken out by the US, this is not a new information for many, but I just wanted to put that out there because this man admits to being involved to what happened to Gaddafi. And what he said in that clip is that there are 2 things Gaddafi was pushing: the unity of African countries and the minerals. He wanted to use his own minerals for him and his own people, and they did not like that. They wanted to tap into that, so they removed him, right? And what did they used to say before they took him out? They used to tarnish his name. They used to say he's using Libya's resources for his personal gain. He's not a good leader. He's a dictator. They smeared his name and then came after him. Now they have begun the first step to what they did to Gaddafi, which is smear Ibrahim Traoré's name, the president of Burkina Faso. They have started saying that he's using the gold of Burkina Faso to protect himself instead of using it for his people.
Absolutely, Chairman. I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traoré and Burkina Faso, as they know that both, whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime.
And so it begins. They first tarnish your name. They say that you're misusing your resources. Mind you, this is Burkina Faso's resource, and Ibrahim Traoré is the leader of Burkina Faso at the moment. So as the leader, he's the one that is going to dictate how that gold or how that resource is going to be used. But guess what? The United States want to pick and choose who can run Burkina Faso, who can use the resources, the same thing they did in Libya. And look at Libya right now, and look at what they were able to do to Libya. So now when they're trying to repeat history, guess what the people of Burkina Faso and Africans as a whole are saying? We're saying no, it's not going to happen. History is not going to repeat itself because we will not allow it.
that there is no king, no ruler, no prophet who enjoys 100% the love of his people. That has never happened in these 6,000 years. And it certainly is not so in America, and it was not so in Libya. I never lived in Libya, so I don't know Libya like the Libyans know Libya. But I know something of the good of Muammar Gaddafi that made me to love him as a brother and to feel a great sense of loss at his assassination. Before I say to the public some of the things that Brother Gaddafi did that can be proved at no limit of time, I'd like to read to the public Brother Gaddafi's last will and testament that came out sometime yesterday. As you know, Brother Muammar Gaddafi was offered asylum in other countries. He refused to leave Libya. And as you know, he said he would be martyred in Libya. This is where he lived, this is where he would fight, and this is where he would die. So I'd like to read this will, and I want you to listen carefully to his words. He said, "This is my will. I, Muammar bin Mudabit bin Muhammad bin Abdussalam bin Humaid bin Abu Manya bin Humaid bin Nail al-Fusi Gaddafi, do swear that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger, peace be upon him. I pledge that I will die as a Muslim." This was written on the 17th of October. He said, "Should I be killed, I would like to be buried according to Muslim rituals in the clothes I was wearing at the time of my death, but with my body unwashed in the cemetery of Sirte next to my family and relatives. I would like that my family, especially the women and children, to be treated well after my death. The Libyan people should protect its identity, achievements, history, and the honorable image of its ancestors and heroes. The Libyan people should not relinquish the sacrifices of the free and best people. I call on my supporters to continue the resistance and fight any foreign aggressor against Libya today, tomorrow, and always. Let the free people of the world know that I could have sold out our cause in return for a secure and stable personal life. I received many offers to this effect, but chose to be at the vanguard of the confrontation as a badge of duty and honor. Even if we do not win immediately, we will provide a lesson to future generations that choosing to protect the nation is an honor, and selling it out is the greatest betrayal that history will forever remember, however they try to portray this." This was the end of his will. He was killed in a military uniform. He wanted to be buried in the khaki clothes that he was wearing. And of course, you heard the news that they took his body out in the middle of the night. He and his son, Mutasim, who we have in a picture meeting with Hillary Clinton a year and a half ago and shaking hands with Secretary of State Clinton, which should show the world that shaking hands with your enemy and receiving a pat on the back from your enemy should never lull you to sleep that the enemy has changed. The enemy is the enemy. And when you fall asleep on that knowledge, that is when the enemy will take us out. The betrayals of his inner circle. Don't think that that is overseas. That is in our own house. And we today need to watch for those close around for signs of betrayal. Because it is written in the scriptures of the Bible that in the last days perilous times will come. And betrayal will be one of the marks of the end of the world, because people will feel that they'll be safer betraying a good cause, a just cause, to save their lives. Gaddafi died in honor, fighting for the Libya that he believed in. They would never have won if NATO was not bombing day in and day out. Brother Ali Baghdadi, that is a writer and a great Arab writer, said they bombed Libya back to the Stone Age. We were in Libya. We saw Libya being built from the ground up. We witnessed what this man did for the Libyan people. And for NATO to have bombed it like this, watch for Halliburton, watch for Bechtel, watch for the vultures of London, England, and France, and others trying to rebuild the infrastructure that they purposely destroyed, which is against international law. You went for humanitarian purposes, yet 50,000 Libyans lie dead because the West wanted access to the wealth of Libya. Now let me tell you what this man did. Did he kill people? Well, hell, did our president kill people? Talk back to me. Yes. You have made your president an assassin. That the only value that he has now is that he was responsible for the death of Osama bin Laden. He was captured without a weapon. He should have been brought to America, put on trial for the American people to see this man. But he was executed, so you will never know the real truth. Then Alaki, an American citizen who is against America's policies, a drone took him out and then came back later and killed his son. Now Muammar Gaddafi and his sons lie dead. Saddam Hussein and his sons lie dead. Well, what about your sons? They're dying in Iraq on the basis of a lie. They're dying in Afghanistan on the basis of a lie. And now drones are in Pakistan, drones in Somalia, drones in Yemen. When will it stop? America, do you think that you can get away with this? If it's time for another commercial, then you go on and take the commercial. I'm just warming up.
All right. Thank you, Brother Minister. Brother Minister, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan is in our studio. Stay with us.
You're watching the Media Connection, and we're joining WVON talk show host Cliff Kelly as he talks to Minister Louis Farrakhan about the killing of Colonel Muammar Gaddafi.
It wasn't any money that he loaned to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, or that he loaned to the Nation of Islam and forgave for $5 million that he loaned us, for you to think that I am that kind of prostitute, that I would give myself to any man for money. It's the principle that made me his brother. Now look at what this man did. After nationalizing the oil, he used the oil revenue to benefit the Libyan people, building schools, infrastructure, universities, hospitals. He raised the literacy rate from 20% when he became the leader, and at the time of his assassination, it is 83%. Libya has one of the finest healthcare systems in the third world. All people have access to doctors, hospitals, clinics, and medicines free of charge. If a Libyan needs surgery that is unavailable in Libya, funding is provided for the surgery to be carried out overseas. He raised the life expectancy of the Libyan people from 44 years, and now at the time of his assassination, 75 years of age. Basic food items were subsidized and electricity was made available throughout the country. Brother Muammar Gaddafi has set up huge irrigation projects which were established in order to support a drive toward agricultural development and food self-sufficiency. He spent $33 billion on the man-made river, where his engineers brought water up out of the desert, and now pipelines ran from Benghazi and Tobruk almost to the door of Tunisia. Any Libyan who wanted to become a farmer was and still is given free use of land, a house, farm equipment, livestock, and seed. Brother Muammar Gaddafi vowed that his own parents, who lived in a tent in the desert, would not be housed until every Libyan was housed. He fulfilled that promise. Under the revolutionary leadership of Muammar Gaddafi, Libya has now attained the highest standard of living in Africa. Money from Libya's oil revenue is directly deposited into the bank account of every Libyan. Women have full access to education, employment, and he has enabled women to serve in the armed forces. And this is most important. Gaddafi was the first and the only leader in the Arab world to formally apologize for the Arab role in the trade in captured Africans. Gaddafi acknowledged that the black Africans were the true owners of Libya and proclaimed in his Green Book, quote, "The black race shall prevail throughout the world." Now, Brother Gaddafi took oil money and started moving the Organization of African Unity toward the African Union, with a goal toward uniting 53, now 54 nations in Africa to the United States of Africa. Whenever we called Africa, our call had to go through Europe. And over $500 million went to Europe. But Gaddafi put up 400 million, and the rest of Africa put up 100 million and put up an African satellite. Now you can call directly to Africa from anywhere in the world without going through Europe. He asked the African nations to stop sending their raw materials to Europe to be made into products and then sent back to Africa to be paid for in an exorbitant price range. He wanted the Africans to take their raw materials and make them into products and then sell their products on the world market. This is the man that was assassinated, and I'll close this point. The minute he wanted Africa united, America, Britain, France, Germany, Europe was against it. So they set up NEPAD, a new economic development pact. Gaddafi was against it. Sarkozy came up with another plan to take all the North African nations that are Arab and unite them with the nations of Southern Europe. Gaddafi rejected that. America wanted to set up on the African continent African as a launching pad for the recolonization of Africa. Gaddafi was against that. I read an article by the Jewish man from a Zionist that was the former assistant to Rumsfeld. I can't call his name. Who?
Pearl?
No, not Pearl. Wolfowitz.
Wolfowitz, yeah.
Wolfowitz.
Hold your point, Minister. We got to go to the top of the hour break. That's the kind of information that I wanted you to give us.
You're watching The Media Connection, and now we're going to hear some candid words from Minister Louis Farrakhan as he speaks to the media and their role in exposing what he believes is the truth that is not being told. Let's join Cliff Kelly and Minister Louis Farrakhan.
This is a hell of a betrayal of the American people when you will not tell them the truth because you're afraid that if you tell the truth, your bosses will take your job from you. That's a hell of a thing. You don't have a democracy when you don't have a free press. You're all slaves, and you love it. So you deserve what you get, the erosion of your democracy. You'll soon be the laughing stock of the world. It's a damn shame. That's why the children are occupying space in New York, in Boston, in Washington, in Chicago, in San Francisco, and other cities. Why? Because they're not looking to you as a source of information for them. Look how long it took you all to talk about what was going on in New York. It took you 2 weeks because the same people that controlled the banks controlled the media. You all know it, but you're afraid to say it. But God put it on Farrakhan to say it for you. And maybe one day you'll get some courage to stand up and give America free media, a real free fourth estate. But right now, you ain't even worth the time of day. You need somebody to tell the truth.
That's right.
You need.
I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think God would give his only begotten son for this world?
Think about it.
This thing. Look at the world that you live in. How rotten it is. We voted for our brother, Barack. Beautiful human being with a sweet heart. And now he's an assassin. They've turned him into them. You didn't hear me. They turned. They brought him to England. See? Oh, now he can stay in Buckingham Palace. Nobody stayed there. Just a few presidents. Why him? Why? See, we know this enemy. See, America can sit down tyrants, but who will sit her down? She puts her trust in her weapons of war. She threatens the nations of the earth and has my brother calling for the assassination of brother Muammar Gaddafi. What has he done? I can defend that man. You don't know that man. See, you're a victim of that media that's controlled by satanic forces. My poor brother, they're bombing. They said they were only going over there for humanitarian reasons. We're going to stop Gaddafi from killing his own people, and we believe that. You've been deceived. You talk about a man killing his own people when you lie to the American people saying that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. When you lie and then take innocent young men who come to serve their country and send them to die in Iraq, in Afghanistan, over lies, that's a murderer in the White House. Who will say it? I will, because I have a power behind me that is bringing America to judgment as we speak.
Hello, brothers and sisters. I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you're watching me from. Now, the big talk in the world and in Africa today is about the life of one and only Ibrahim Traoré. Now, so many leaders, world leaders, have been coming out to condemn the US and Michael Langley for planning to overthrow and assassinate Ibrahim Traoré. Now, there is need for us as black folks to stand with one of our own. Now, I've always been a fan of Louis Farrakhan. Louis Farrakhan is one of the few black leaders, those who have been talking about the oppression black Americans have been going through, and the oppression those black people who are taken into the slavery have been going through, and how the Western systems have been set to make sure that they remain in total poverty and remain minority and oppressed. Now, Louis Farrakhan has always been talking about the leaders who have stood with black people around the world. Now, he is a good supporter of people like Malcolm X and people like Marcus Garvey, and one of our own, Junior himself. Now, if he has been talking about all these things, he has been talking about Martin Luther King Jr., and he has been talking about Malcolm X, and he has been talking about how they assassinated Gaddafi and why they were against Muammar Gaddafi in Africa, the president of Libya, who was brutally assassinated by the Western powers and overthrown out of power. You must go see the situation in Libya. You must go see the situation in North Africa. Now, I'm very grateful that he has always stood with black leaders in Africa. He has always stood with African continent. He has been talking about how biased the Western system is against Africa, and how biased the Western system has always been against black people around the world. It is time we black people unite and fight our own battles. We've been helping the Western countries fight their own battles. We've built their countries. Black people built Europe. Black people built the US. America and all these first world countries have been built by black labor, have been built by the slaves they took out of Africa. Our brothers and sisters have been oppressed for the longest time, just building their countries and making their economies great, while they oppress Africa on the other side and send their troops in Africa to oversee exploitation, to oversee corruption, and to oversee killing of innocent children and mothers during wars that have been sponsored by their governments and their leaders. Now, it is time we actually support Ibrahim Traoré. I know they are so shocked. They never expected an African continent where everyone is talking about the life of Ibrahim Traoré. They thought they are going to blackmail him against black people and using puppets like William Ruto of Kenya and using puppets in Africa to stain his name and to tarnish his name around and make sure that the masses in Africa and the youth who have been a good supporter of him get their support base down. And they're in for a rude shock because we have been seeing leaders, true Pan-Africanists like Julius Malema and Pilo Lumumba of Kenya. They have come out to express their support and to show Ibrahim Traoré, you are not alone. We've seen the Namibian president has shown his support to Ibrahim Traoré. We've seen so many other Black Americans, the diaspora, Jamaicans, Caribbeans, Barbados. Everyone is coming out to express and show their support to whatever Ibrahim Traoré is doing in Africa. Unless you come from Burkina Faso or unless you come from the nearby countries like Ghana, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, you must know that Ibrahim Traoré has changed that country from a country where people are fighting day and night, from a country where they had no roads, for a country where they had no hospitals, no schools. And he's doing all this. He has now started building roads, schools, and he has built a gold refinery. This is whatever is upsetting the Western countries because they can no longer get gold in Burkina Faso. They can no longer exploit this country because it has a real leader, a real son of the soil from Africa. This is whatever upsets them the most, that they are used to getting gold from Burkina Faso and Africa, and whenever they want, at their wish, at their will, they just come in Africa, build an airstrip, and they ship the whole thing out of Africa. They fly the gold, the mineral resources without even notifying these governments because they have implanted their puppets around Africa. No one questions them. But here is a leader who has said no. He received a state visit to the US. He said no. And they are like, what should we do to this guy? Assassinate him, right? Because he has been a threat to us. The only way we can do it, let's turn him against the people. Let's say he's using the gold to enrich himself and the people that are helping him run the country. And the people will be against him. The whole thing will change in Africa and we can go after him. They were in for a rude shock, even after using puppets to denounce the support they have for Ibrahim Traoré. After using puppets, maybe to troll Ibrahim Traoré's leadership. Still, the masses are with Ibrahim Traoré. Any distraction that came in, the Pope was dead, yes, but they thought maybe the story of the Pope will sweep everything away, but people are still talking about the great leader of Africa, Ibrahim Traoré. I'm very much grateful. We are not worshipping Ibrahim Traoré, but we are saying that if he's doing something good, it should be put on the internet. And if anyone wants to tarnish whatever Ibrahim Traoré is doing, if anyone wants to come with ill will to destroy the country of Burkina Faso, we are not going to allow. We've seen whatever happened to Libya. Now, after they managed to assassinate Patrice Lumumba of Congo, where is Congo today? Congo has been fighting since 1980s till to date. After they managed to assassinate Muammar Gaddafi, what happened to Libya? Libya is fighting. The country is divided into two. So many people claim to be leading the country. They do not even have a clear elected president to date. Now, the NATO goes to that country every time they want, get petroleum, they get crude oil, everything they want, they leave that country. Now the people are now suffering. Hospitals are in bad conditions that were built by Muammar Gaddafi. The roads that Muammar Gaddafi built have not been repaired, and the country is really suffering. You must see, when they killed and overthrew Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso, what became of that country? Until lately, we have one of the best leaders in the world right now, Ibrahim Traoré. They have been doing this. Now, you go to a country called the Central Republic of Africa. They do not even have a tarmac road. They do not have roads. They do not have hospitals, but it is a country that has so many resources. And the Western countries are there looting day and night. Go to Congo. So many other countries in Africa. I'm just giving you examples why the African continent has opened its eyes, and the people and the youths, the Gen Zs, are saying enough is enough. To you who wants to use Michael Langley, Donald Trump, right, and Elon Musk to get whatever is in Africa right now and to implant their own puppet in that country so that they can continue looting Africa and crippling the economy of the African continent. We are not boarding this time. We are saying we are going to stand with Ibrahim Traoré. We are going to stand with patriots of Africa. We are going to stand with the people who know the importance of the mineral resources their countries have and how much the suffering of their people is pain to them. So we stand with Ibrahim Traoré. We thank you, Louis Farrakhan, for always showing interest in the politics of Africa and the well-being of the motherland. Thank you so much for having taken the time to watch this video. I appreciate so much. If it's your first time on this channel, please consider subscribing, sharing, commenting, and liking the video. You can also become a special member to this channel by subscribing in a special way and becoming a member to this channel. See you in our next episode. Thank you so much.